Hey guys, Dislife Marc here, and I want to tell you all about the official travel partner here at Chip & Company. Let our good friend Sarah at Destination to Travel help you plan your next Disney vacation. Sarah specializes in planning dream vacations for your family. She's an authorized Disney vacation planner, and she can help with every step of your magical vacation. The best thing is that her services are 100% free. Want to travel beyond Disney? Sarah has you covered there too. Want to find out more? Fill out a trip request form over at the website at Chip & Co. or email her directly at sarahsolberg@d2travel.com. What are you waiting for? Start planning that dream vacation today. Email her at sarahsolberg@d2travel.com.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Greetings, program.
Amigos down there. It is me up here.
Howdy, folks. Please keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the train and remain seated at all times.
Nice work, pal.
Well, we have one of those new talking machines. Now that is something.
We know what our goals are. We know what we hope to accomplish. And believe me, it's the most exciting and challenging assignment we've ever tackled.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dislife Podcast. Thank you for being a part of our Disney Lives here on the Chip & Company Podcast Network. My name is Marc Valentine, and I'm the host of Dislife Podcast. Join us every single week as we discuss the very best of Disney parks, resorts, dining, and beyond. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button to access more incredible audio content from Chip & Company Podcast Network. And just a reminder, head over to chipandco.com for the latest and the most uplifting news headlines from across the Disney parks around the world. We'd like to give a special shout out to the patrons of this podcast program. Thank you to the members of our Patreon page who have special access and bonus content, plus much, much more. Support this radio program if you would like by visiting patreon.com/Dislife Podcast. All right, guys. So on today's show, we asked the Chip & Company community of Disney Addicts which roller coaster, Disney roller coaster, reigns supreme, and the people have spoken. On today's show, we are ranking all of the Disney coasters and talking about the future of Disney's most thrilling attractions in this fun-filled episode of Dislife Podcast. But before we climb aboard the coasters, let's welcome once again the co-host of Dislife Podcast and my Guardian of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind co-pilot, the one and only Greg, the Disney fanatic. Greg, welcome to the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Hoy hoy, Marc Valentine. Happy Halloween. Trick or treat.
It's
Boo.
August.
It is August. By the time the Dislifers and the Chip and Coers, I don't know, I got to find some way of saying all that, are listening to this, Halloween is officially on here at the Magic Kingdom. So, you know, I'm excited. This episode is going to have a lot of ups and downs.
One inversion.
Flips, at least an inversion. I'm excited right now to talk about roller coasters and Disney and just in general rides. I'm excited. But how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. We are currently hanging out, both you and I. So we pre-taped this before I traveled to Florida. So as of right now, our families are hanging out. We might be in the pool listening to this as it drops over in the Chip & Company Podcast
I have a feeling
Network.
At this point we will be on Guardians of the Galaxy for the second time that day alone, and probably let's go with 14th time during the trip. Holly and I were having a discussion earlier today. She was like, how many times do you think Marc Valentine is going to be riding Guardians of the Galaxy? I was like, well, he does have to do I was like, two a day.
Safe bet. It's a very safe bet, man.
Yeah,
I will
going with it.
Fully admit that. So a long time ago on Disney Life Podcast, we had an episode where we had a ranking of coasters. We've had a lot of changes to parks ever since, and so we are offering an updated list for the fans over here on the Chip & Company Podcast Network. As you know, we have just had the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind roller coaster open at Epcot. So we have to see where does that fit in the pantheon. So we have pulled the Chip and Company Facebook group filled with Disney Addicts. We asked them to rank. So the way that this episode is going to go, both you and I will be personally ranking our top 8 coasters, but then we will go to the pulse of the people and we will see how the Facebook community voted. And then we're going to use that to kind of develop somewhat of a composite score and see which roller coaster reigns supreme. So this is not just coming from Greg and myself. While we're going to add our voice to the voting of sorts, we're going to see how the people voted. And if you disagree with this list, then Greg, they can join the Facebook group and kind of chat at them.
I'm raising my hand here, Mark. Can I just say that they were wrong? They were wrong.
Well,
over almost 1,000 votes.
Yes.
And they were wrong.
Stay tuned.
I'm kidding.
The hot take of this episode is coming from you, people. It's coming from you. It's not going to be Greg and I that have the surprises on this list. It's going to indefinitely be you, the voters, who there will be some very big surprises in the reveal when we tell how people voted on this particular thing. But
so,
dude,
Mark, I know we have a list of how we want to do this episode, but I'm going to throw this in real quick.
Do it.
I'm going to let's just go.
You're a chaos creator, so that's what I expect, and I love it. So go. Okay, get chaotic.
Let's get in let's right up front.
All right.
What makes a coaster good to you?
So I want to be very clear, transparent, and honest. What defines a good coaster to me now is what kept me away from roller coasters for such a long time.
Right. And we're going to get into that in a minute.
Yeah. So for the longest time, those like drops and that feeling that you got in your stomach, what makes a coaster really great, in my opinion, is the G-force. It's that feeling that you get in your gut and in your stomach, whether it's a corkscrew, whether it's a drop, whether it's an inversion. What makes a roller coaster so great is the intensity, and let me just say the fun factor, that if you can combine the theming and that intensity level, that's what makes a great coaster, man.
You nailed it. To me, you're right on. I just tried to explain this to my oldest son, and he's like, well, what makes a good roller coaster to you? And it threw me off guard. I was like, it's the pacing of the ride. It's the fun factor, I think, is the most important thing. When I get off the coaster and get outside, is my heart racing? Am I joyous? Do I have like, oh my gosh, we have to do this again feeling? But not only that, to me, it's a little bit of the cue. It's that feeling of conquering your own fear. It's that feeling of I'm in queue and I am a little scared. I don't know what's going to happen. You go through like the 5 stages of grief going onto that ride.
Yes.
And then when you get clicked into the ride, at that point, you just go, I've accepted this. I've overcome everything.
Yes.
I've accepted this. I'm going to do this. Let's go. And then by the time you're done, you're like, why was I so scared of this? Why did I have these mental pains and pangs?
Yes. And that is I'm going to be honest. Some of the best times that I've had on roller coasters begin with that regret. And it's regret when the cast member or the team member clicks you in, that you say, what am I doing? What have I just committed to? And I'm committed now at this point.
Committed.
If you have a healthy dose of regret when that bar touches you, then I think that's really good, because I think you should never be asleep at the wheel on a roller coaster. You should never get off and just go, no, okay.
Man.
You should get a little scared. You should have the poo-poo scared out of you a little bit on a really good coaster. So, I mean, and like I said, for 36 years, any roller coaster did that to me. I was terrified of roller coasters because my grandmother took me. I don't know. Have I ever told you the story? My grandmother took me to Great Adventure.
Wow. We're going to have 2 Great Adventure stories coming up in this episode. This is awesome.
So we're in New Jersey. Great Adventure was kind of our home park, right?
Six Flags Great Adventure, Jacksonville, New Jersey.
There you go. So I was like 85 pounds dripping wet. I was a little kid. Like, I'm still a little man. Like, people who see me and they meet me in person are like, Mark is small. I'm small.
You're small.
I'm a tiny man. Like, I'm a small guy. Like, I'm
a tiny man.
I'm a tiny guy. So
Is that what Elton John's song about? Are you a tiny dancer?
I'm Tiny Dancer. That's me. I'm
You're Tony Danza?
It wasn't about
let's leave Tony Danza off to the side. So you're 85 pounds.
My grandmother takes me on, and it's not even like it's an intense coaster. She takes me on the runaway train.
Yes.
And it doesn't invert. But as I'm doing the corkscrews, kind of like Big Thunder Mountain, you know how you like just go from side to side? So I am flopping all over this thing. And my grandmother is kind of not asleep at the wheel, but she's laughing and she's looking and enjoying herself. And I'm clinging to the bar like I'm clinging to Powdered Toast Man. And I'm holding on for absolute dear. Like it was scary as anything because the bar didn't come anywhere close to even touching a portion of my body. And that was it. I was like, I'm done. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm teaching 8th grade. And they go to Dorney Park. You know Dorney Park.
Yup.
And I get on
Steel Forest. What else do they have?
No,
there?
Hercules. Is it Hercules?
Hercules, yeah.
I get on Hercules because I don't think and I'm going up the chain lift. And I say to the Spanish teacher who's sitting next to me, his name is Phil Patterson. I say to Phil, I'm like, dude, I haven't been on a roller coaster since like this incident. And he's like, come on, man, you're a grown ass man. Like, you'll be fine. I'm like 22, 23. And we're going up the chain lift. I'm like, yo, Phil, I think I'm okay. Like, I think I'm going to do it. And then we drop and I screamed the F word the entire ride. Like I had ride-based Tourette's, and there's my students are sitting in front of me, and there's students that are sitting in back of us, and we get off the ride and their eyes are like, what did you say? What did you say? And I'm like, listen,
you do the big word.
I'm like, circle up, everybody. Listen, Mr. Valentine was trying to conquer a fear. He failed, but the important thing to remember here is go after it. Even if you're going to fail, go after it. And
listen, the important thing is we're alive right now having this conversation.
And don't tell anybody what I said.
Right. Here's $5. Go play a game. Win something big.
Don't tell anybody what I just said. So I hated roller coasters. And then my daughter, who's then like 4 years old, we take her to Disney and she wants to go on all this stuff. And I look at her, I'm like, I cannot let my 4-year-old have that same fear that I did. And she gave me all the courage to start to do this. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. Again, welcome to my TED Talk.
Welcome to my TED Talk.
What was your first roller coaster?
I wanted to. Okay, so my first roller coaster again is going to be at Jackson, New Jersey, at Six Flags Great Adventure. I want to say 11 or 12.
Okay.
We had season passes every year. I remember there's pictures of me on the old spoke wheel and at the arena when I was like 4. So I'd gone my whole life. Rolling Thunder was the big wooden roller coaster there.
Yes.
And then they had just built, what was the steel one?
The Great American Scream Machine.
Yeah, Great American Scream Machine. So
I didn't go on it, but it terrifies me to this day.
I went with a girl who was my girlfriend at 12 or 11 years old, and her family and stuff. So I kind of got thrown into, I'm in line for the roller coaster. I'd done the Runaway Railway millions of times, but to me, that wasn't a coaster. Rolling Thunder was the coaster.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got in line and I was like, oh, I got this, no problem. Meanwhile, I'm like, oh, inside, I am internally screaming. And I know if I back out of this girl is not going to be my girlfriend at 11 years old. So my first one was, I literally, Mark, was trying to impress a girl at Six Flags Great Adventure. And it ended up being wrong. And then 5 minutes later, we rode Great American Scream Machine. But I will tell you this.
Wait. I know you did. I have footage from that. Holly sent me some footage of this is you on the Great American Scream Machine.
Oh, is it?
That was it.
Poor Goofy. That's so sad. You know he's going to get hurt. Anyway, so for years I would not ride roller coasters, and I'm talking 20 some odd years because I had what's that beach? Myrtle Beach. They had a wooden roller coaster and I blacked out on it. And I don't know why and I don't know where. So that scared me off from riding roller coasters again.
Trauma. And
then, so my daughter is 11 and we started going to amusement parks and we went to Dollywood and a few other places. And I was like, I got to try this. I love this feeling. Let me just show her that I'm brave enough to do this. With her, she became my coaster buddy. She became my person that I would hang out with in line. Mom wasn't around. Brothers weren't around. This was just me and her. And we could talk about the world. And I could see in her eyes that same trepidation, that same fear that I had. So we were able to connect on a different level by able to talk through that fear, able to talk about what we expected. And I was able to connect with my daughter on a serious level. And we still have that relationship to this day.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And I love it. And because of coasters, my daughter and I are coaster buddies. And Mark, I'm the proudest father in the world. Every time I ride, every Sunday, I ride Cosmic Rewind with her. And every Sunday, I am so proud to be her father.
I was just going to say, for people who don't know this, every single Sunday, Greg cosmically rewinds with his daughter. And so I love to hear that you guys still have that bond, that coaster bond. My daughter and I are the same way, man. So I love that story. That's amazing. It's incredible. I'm a huge fan of roller coasters now. And so like Bella is my coaster buddy. And
it's so cool.
We already told the stories of California and the two of us taking on California together and doing the Incredicoaster for the first time. And I love roller coasters, man. I never thought in a million years that I would be that guy. Is
she coming? Is she going to do Rock and Roller Coaster this time?
She's going to do it. We're going to do it.
Oh, I have to be there for that. I got to come over and see that one. That's going to be awesome.
It's going to be amazing. So in your opinion, okay, I need to know this. So like Disney or not, you live in Orlando. What, in your opinion, is the best coaster in Orlando? Now, rule, if it is a Disney coaster we're going to talk about later on this list, save it. Just say, Mark, I'm going to save it for later. But is the best coaster in Orlando a Disney coaster?
It's not a Disney coaster. No.
Scandal.
It is not. Even though my love for Cosmic Rewind is immense, and we'll talk about that eventually here.
Okay.
I do have to mention two things that I'm going to preface this whole thing with. I view certain coasters as real roller coasters, and then I view some as family coasters. Okay. I don't put family coasters in with the real coasters. So a lot of the Disney ones are family coasters. They are not real roller coasters to me, but that's because I like that. I want to feel that drop. I want to feel that fear. I want to conquer it. Not bigger is better always, but I have two, Mark, and I have to mention these two. And one I've only done recently, even because I've gone to this park 100 times. I just did it recently. I'm going to go with Mako. Truly is a fabulous, amazing coaster. The theming sucks. There's no theming. It's the ride itself. And that when you go over 3 of the humps, you truly feel like, I'm glad I'm strapped in because I'm going to fly an extra, I don't know, a few hundred feet, and I'm flying. At this moment in life, I am flying. This is the sensation. I'm flying. I'm a bird. I turned into a bird on that one, and I love that feeling. But I'm in love with Velocicoaster.
Yes.
I'm in love with a Velocicoaster. And Mark, it comes down to 0.5 seconds on that ride. Do you want to know what my favorite 0.5 seconds of life is?
I need to know because the traditional coaster, Velocicoaster, is my top 2. So I need to know. We need to compare notes here.
Okay. You go down. Okay. You go through the paddock, which is a lot of fun.
Yep.
Then you take off and you go up the top hat and you come down the top hat. And then the first thing you do is go through this roll. Most of the time, the roll just goes zip. It's a quick roll.
Yeah.
This one pauses for 0.5 seconds, enough time for you to go, am I going to, I'm literally falling. I'm going to die. Oh, well. And then you're back on the other side. And that all happens in less than a second. All those thoughts go through. And that one turn, one inversion has me hook, line, and sinker. I am addicted to Velocicoaster.
So have you done the first row of that ride?
Mark, I've done every row multiple times.
Holy cow. Like,
oh my gosh.
You think that the Velocicoaster is intense, and then you go in the front row and the handlebars are worn away. The paint is chipped off and worn smooth to silver. That thing is so intense in the front. When you go up that hi-hat, that thing is amazing. So through the paddock and you speed through and you hit that speed bump. It is just so smooth. It's so beautiful. My wife took one look at that and my niece, and we're like, nope, I won't do it.
Because you can see the whole thing.
Yeah, they're like, nope, not doing it. But
I do want to mention
pure awesome.
I do want to mention one other coaster, and it's not in Orlando. It's closer to Orlando.
Yeah.
Lightning Rod at Dollywood is between that and Velocicoaster are my two all-time favorite.
And that's at Tennessee, right?
Yeah, Tennessee. That's Gatlinburg, just outside what's that? Sayreville. It is. You can't see the ride. So when you look at the hill, you just see the hill go up. On the other side of the mountain is where the coaster is. So the first time you ride it, you don't know where the drops are. Yeah. You don't know where the turns are. You know nothing. And the first time I rode it, Mark, I was a 10-year-old schoolgirl giggling at the boy. Like I just giggled to the point where I was crying. It hit me so hard how intense and amazing going 74 miles per hour is. It's the same thing on Velocicoaster. The only difference is you can see Velocicoaster.
Yeah, you can see every bit of it.
Yeah.
And that's what's so intimidating too, is you're watching the people scream and you're watching them as they are zipping past you as you're walking to to what is that? Not Hogwarts. Hogwarts. You're going through
Hogsmeade.
Yeah. But you can hear the screams and just see the fear on people's face and the regret on people's faces. Like, what did I just do? And it does. It gives you pause and makes you reflect on, do I want to take my life into my own hands? The other thing that's so scary about the Velocicoaster, it's a lap bar. I mean, you would think that you're going to get shoulder harnesses like you're getting on Rock and Roller Coaster. Nope, it's a lap bar and you move. People told me before I went on it, they were like, by the way, you will move around in your seat and it's going to freak you the heck out.
Freak you out, but you're safe. There's never been one problem with it.
Not one incident.
Everybody complains about that, having that bar. I will say the queue also is spectacular in there.
It really is.
And I know some people say that there's not a lot of ride elements in there. Once you ride it a few times, you start noticing the ride elements. You really get a...
I was just going to say there are ride elements, but you are going so fast. You're just thinking to yourself, don't die. Don't die.
And even what's that Mosasaurus roll or whatever over the water?
Oh,
even that one, you're just like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this to myself?
Is pure joy though. By that point, that roll is just bliss. I mean, as you roll over the water and you just go end over end, that moment is just so beautiful. So with this discussion, I have to ask, I'm compelled to ask you, does Walt Disney World need more roller coasters? Because we're only going to talk about 8 coasters in 4 parks. Does Disney need more roller coasters?
I think you said it right there. It only has 8 coasters in 4 parks. This is a coaster economy going to amusement parks, theme parks. Disney can get away with it by having amazing IPs, putting on amazing shows, making it an overall great and amazing experience. They're lacking in really thrill rides. There's no such thing as a thrill ride at Walt Disney World at any of the parks. But that's not to say that they need to bring in a thrill ride coaster. I don't think Disney needs to spend millions of dollars to bring in a 200-foot drop roller coaster or go to make a mega coaster or anything like that. I think they need to keep doing what they're doing. Cosmic Rewind. Tron's about to open. I think Tron's going to satisfy a lot of people. I think you need to. I think to bring in the younger crowd and then keep us interested. I think there needs to be at least 1 or 2 more because some of them are old feeling and are not that great.
Yeah. So to bookend. Or to expand upon that, what park do you think needs more of those thrill rides? What park is severely lacking in that element?
Wow, that's a great question. It's not, I mean, look, you got Magic Kingdom's going to have 3 anytime now.
Technically 4.
5.
It has 4. It's going to have 5. Mm-hmm.
5. So, wow. Epcot look, Cosmic Rewind's there, man. Like, could that go for something else? Yes, it could go for something in the World Showcase. You could probably expand one of those areas. Animal Kingdom, though, I think is in desperate need of anything.
A ride.
Yeah.
Just a ride. I don't even
Just
care
a
if it's
ride.
a thrill ride. Animal Kingdom just needs a ride, period.
Just needs some. So I'm going Animal Kingdom. And
I agree.
I think that's what needs it the most.
My laughter is agreement. He's saying like, yeah, just how about anything? How about any kind of a ride or attraction, because you need to eat up people. Like you need another queue over there in Animal Kingdom. So if you had to Imagineer that ride in Animal Kingdom, Greg, what would it be? So like now play Imagineer for a second. You're building Disney's next roller coaster and it's going to be in Animal Kingdom. So what does that ride look like? Tell me what your ride would be.
So most people would think I'm going to go over the top and it has to be a launch style coaster and you have to go 70 miles per hour and keep it low to the ground. And no, I think they need another family coaster. I think Disney is doing family coasters really, really good right now. What I would like to see over there, though, is a Jungle Book or Tarzan type roller coaster. I think you can have Baloo as the carts. You can run through, when on Jungle Book, when they're rolling down the river and he's on top of Baloo, you could do that, but also incorporate a splash zone, kind of how these new coasters are doing it, where the water comes up and hits you. So it's almost a water ride and a coaster at the same time. I think you can get away with something over there on that because it is hot. The majority of the time, it is hot over at Animal Kingdom.
Yes.
I think the Jungle Book or Tarzan. Jungle Book is more my style, I think.
That Tarzan sounds phenomenal.
And I would love to see a coaster themed that way at Animal Kingdom. I think going older IP is going to hit all the older members or guests that go there. But I think having as a roller coaster / water ride, I think you're going to get a lot of the younger people who want to go in and see it. I think it's just going to be amazing.
I think a cool mechanic for that Tarzan would obviously be a lot of hills so that you feel like you're swinging. So it's a lot of up and down in different sequences, and you've got trees that are kind of around you and built up. Man, I would be all in for that. I have a different idea, though.
By the way, I always surprise you with my let's Imagineer this. I always come out with like something crazy that you were not expecting of me. No, and I always feel like did I just impress him? I think I just impressed him. I brought Professor Bernard last time from Flubber, and you were like, Flubber?
Yes. So for one, yes, you have constantly impressed me. But not that it's not because I don't expect you to bring it. It's just I think that your answers are that creative that you've impressed me. But I do want to clarify that I always fully expect to be impressed. Not you're always overwhelming me, but my expectations are high. The way you're explaining
I need to
this
hear
is that
yours because yours normally blow mine out of the water. You normally have given this time. You're educated. You've had books out. You brought a protractor with you. I don't know why you have a protractor right now, but you're holding one up. I don't understand it. Okay, let's hear yours.
Well, I've done the geometry. I've done the math. And last week on our first episode here on the Chip and Company Podcast Network, I talked about how I want to change the area that is currently the Voyage of the Little Mermaid and the Star Wars launch bay. I want to rework that area to work in a roller coaster. Now, the thing is, you have plenty of show buildings over there and you have a lot of interior space. So here's what I want. And I said, I want that to be connected to Pixar and then work its way around to like the Toy Story area. I would like a Monsters, Inc. roller coaster where you are going through the last sequence of the first film with the doors, and you have
brilliant.
All of those doors are like opening, and you think of like the portals that they've created over in Guardians of the Galaxy, right? With lighting and special effects where you feel like you're going through one of those portals.
Right.
And you're making the jumps. Well, instead of making those jumps, you're going through independent bedrooms throughout chasing Randall and trying to get Boo back. And the whole,
oh my gosh.
How amazing.
Imagine at one point you just go through like 10 different rooms, like boom, 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 boom.
And I wouldn't want it to be Now, I wouldn't want it to be like a chain of coasters. I would want it to be like Space Mountain, where you have maybe 2 or 3 couplings of cars that are just going through on maybe 1 or 2 different tracks. So you have different tracks and different experiences depending on which track you go on. But I don't want to have a long cart. I want to have something that's running very similar to like Space Mountain in design, so that you don't have a ton of people in front of you ruining your sight lines and your vision. I want it to feel like it's just Mike and Sully in a singular cart chasing after Boo throughout the experience. But how cool would it be to have that experience in Monsters, Inc.?
That is amazing. Like,
there it is.
I would ride I would ride that so quick, and I can see the Imagineering for. I can see the colors.
I can see the colors of it. Mm-hmm.
But I can. Yeah, even the smaller cart where you can go just 2 carts, 8 riders on there, and you just have them keep going, and they're side by side instead of front to back, side by side, and just going through the doors. And you start off on the laugh floor, basically. You start off on at the scare room.
I like that idea.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Well, and I like the idea of then the queue also reliving that moment in Monsters, Inc., where Boo gets kidnapped by Randall, and it's, Mike is like, you got to help us get her back. And, maybe they're riding alongside of you and you can see them on screens, but it's you and your coaster buddy helping Mike and Sully to get Boo back and to help them track Boo down.
And Hollywood Studios needs something.
I would never say it.
There's something. Yeah. There's something. Look, even though it has Star Wars, even though it has Toy Story Land, it still feels like something is missing.
Yeah.
At Hollywood Studios.
Well, so I get that.
Yeah, what a great place.
So let's do a recap really quick on the Disney coasters by the numbers, because we're going to be getting into our individual rankings and revealing how the members of the Chip and Company Facebook group have voted. But again, there's a total of 8 coasters, 1 in Epcot. If you're not counting, Epcot finally just got its first roller coaster in Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Animal Kingdom has only 1 now that they've torn Primeval Hurl down. Rest in peace. Primeval Hurl is gone.
There's no rest in peace on that one. That needed to go so bad.
Expedition Everest is over there. Hollywood Studios has 2. You have the family-friendly Slinky Dog Dash, and then you have the Rock and Roller Coaster, which is currently home to Aerosmith, maybe something else. We've talked about maybe we'll get at D23 a retheming of this. And then Magic Kingdom currently has 4. You have the family-friendly coaster in the Barnstormer. Then you have Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Space Mountain, the iconic Space Mountain, and the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. 4 of them are family friendly. I'm very glad that you introduced that term to our audience. Of the 4, Barnstormer, Slinky Dog Dash, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and I would say Big Thunder Mountain. While it doesn't advertise as a family friendly coaster, let's be honest, it is.
Yeah.
And then, I think it's a huge stretch to say that Space Mountain is a thrill ride. Rock and Roller Coaster has an inversion, Expedition Everest. And I would say, while I think they would like to describe Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind as a more family-friendly experience, there are some movements and some things that are going to prohibit or preclude people from wanting to ride that one.
I agree with you on all of that, except for 2 things. 1, Space Mountain is really family friendly. The only thing that makes it not family friendly is it's in the dark.
And it's
the
a
dark
back
can be
adjustment.
intense without knowing. Right. Oh, by the way, and every time I'm going to move on because I always slap things. They land wrong. I hurt. I talk in a higher pitched voice when I come off that ride, if you know what I'm saying.
Hey, everybody.
I sound like Mickey coming up. It's still family friendly. Like, think about it, Mark. I would guarantee you, for the listeners who are out there, that 70% of people, and that's a high number. Yeah. 70% of people, that was their first roller coaster. If they are Disney fans, Space Mountain was the first one. And I bet you they were young, and I bet you they were 8, 9, 10 years old, and they conquered a fear and went on Space Mountain. So I consider Space Mountain a family coaster.
Or they didn't conquer that fear, and that was it. That was their one and done.
Or it's a ball breaker.
That's true. What else, Greg?
Cosmic Rewind. That's tough to describe. I'm going into this knowing that I like big drops. I like that. I love Cosmic Rewind. I do think it is family friendly, except for like 1 or 2 parts. But you see kids going on it and coming off of it, loving it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a kid's fear. I think it's a parent's fear putting their kids on there. But I would view every single ride. The only one I would not put as family friendly-ish would be Everest.
So speaking of this, so I want to have a conversation on this because we've included 8, but I have had on more than one occasion the pleasure of sitting, waiting for dinner reservations or just walking through the park. I've overheard so many conversations of people who are talking about what defines a roller coaster. And so I want to ask you, what defines a coaster to you? Because I've heard many a conversation where people are like, yeah, I was on that test track, that roller coaster test track. And I've even heard someone say that Splash Mountain was a roller coaster. And I had to, flames, like Mrs. White from Clue.
You know my true feeling on how I want to respond to that. But we're a family-friendly show. Well, I like a family-friendly coaster.
I had to stop myself and not be that guy in that moment and just go, you know what? Let them continue life thinking that a log flume is a roller coaster.
Right.
But Greg, Test Track, is Test Track a roller coaster?
Test Track is a slot car. It's a giant slot car. No, it's not a coaster. You're not on tracks. You're not on.
But you are on a track.
But you're not on. You're not in the beginning of it. You're in a slot machine. You're in a slot car. Like it's pulling you along. There's no gravity involved in any way, shape, or form on it. At no point do you get let go to let gravity take over or to free fall or to do any of that. It literally drags you through the whole thing.
It does.
So you are on a track. Cosmic Rewind, at some point, once you're off and running. Like you are not being pulled along except gravity is taking you where it's going. And because you're on that track, that means you're on a roller coaster. So to me, there's the biggest definition of what makes it. In Splash Mountain, again, you are floating on water. Yes, you're between 2 guardrails, but you are floating on water. There is no track except for the falling.
Yeah, man, that one really, that was hard. That one was really hard.
Mark, where were you when that conversation happened?
It was where was I? I was at Steakhouse 71.
Well, there's your answer, because the people who go to Contemporary Steakhouse at 71, I love them. Let's just put it that way. They're great people and have no real opinion on life.
They do
have an opinion, but the opinion is Splash Mountain's a roller coaster.
Yeah, it was just really hard for me to be like, and you're wrong because it's a log flume. And I know that because that is exactly what a log flume is. The very definition of it, which is a non-coaster. But right. I had to disengage.
I really think it comes down to free movement. Like, yes, you're on a track, but once you're let go to do whatever is going to happen.
That. That's very fair. Gravity is at work. There's an element of gravity, and the car is relying on just gravity in order to generate that inertia. I like it. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Like here's how I would like to work this. You tell us what you have. I will say like what my number 8 is, and then we will reveal if we were in concert or if we match what the Facebook group, the Disney Addicts, had in their pairing. Okay.
Okay.
So again, I want to break down the list if you do not know this. So if you're new to Walt Disney, if you're new to Disney parks and Disney podcasts, we have Rock and Roller Coaster, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Expedition Everest, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Cosmic Rewind, Slinky Dog Dash, and the Barnstormer. Those are the options that we have and the 8 roller coasters that we will be ranking today. So Tron is not here yet because it is not a part of Walt Disney World, but relax. We'll talk about Tron. We're not going to ignore Tron. I promise you. So Greg, without any further ado, you are number 8.
Oh, I just wrote them down because I'm going to be spicy on this one. Okay.
Okay.
This is listen. I ride these weekly. Every single one of them I ride weekly. Sundays are just for Cosmic Rewind. The rest of the week when I'm there, I will do one of the roller coasters. So my number 8, Mark. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Rock and roller coaster.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
It is the most painful. Those shoulder harnesses do not strap down all the way.
You are hurting me.
You feel like you're in there. And then your shoulders, when you come off, you're like, it is rough.
You've hurt me.
It feels horrible. It is the worst coaster at Disney.
You've cut me deep.
Right off the get-go.
You've cut me. You have cut me deep. Like, you have cut me deep. I don't know
Painful.
if I don't know if I'm going to get over this.
How about some backstage passes? How about shut up?
So,
oh, by the way, have I ever told you how much I dislike Steven Tyler?
So fun.
I hate Aerosmith. Anywhere after 88 on Aerosmith, that whole Pump album. What was it? This not Sweet Emotion. What was the? Oh my God, Permanent Vacation.
Fun fact about the
Janie's got a gun. Shut up.
Pre-show of that, where they had to digitally.
You're my angel. Yeah, you need to stop.
They had to digitally add a digit to Steven Tyler because he had a very unfamily friendly gesture that he was giving to the patrons of Hollywood Studios. They have added a digit. Fun fact right there. I disagree with you. I absolutely disagree with you. I'm hurt. Like, it's going to take me the entirety of the episode to get over your number 8. So I have the Barnstormer. And again, I have the pulse of the people here because the Barnstormer is great.
No.
If you have little children, the Barnstormer is great.
The goof?
It's too short, man. I mean, Sky School over in California is infinitely better. Goofy has a roller coaster over in California Adventure, and it's great. It's like a wild mouse coaster. I love it over there. The Barnstormer is too short. It is literally, you go up the chain lift, you do a very short corkscrew, and it's over. It's great for little kids, but once your kid isn't 2 anymore, it's terrible. I mean, it's not worth the wait. You're going to be waiting 10 to 20 times longer in the queue than you will actually be riding the Barnstormer. And with 0% of the vote, Greg, 0% of the vote, the people of the Disney Addicts agree with me.
They're so wrong.
No one, not a soul.
I did.
Not a soul put the Barnstormer in.
I did. I voted.
No one. 0.
I put Barnstormer in. I bet you it's like 0.001.
Yeah.
It was me.
Well,
I was the one.
I'm telling you, it rounded. The math rounded down to 0.
I see it. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it rounded to 0.
I did vote for it, though.
With 0% of the aggregate vote, the people said no to the Barnstormer. It's a skip. All right. So you're number 7, man. What's your number 7?
Space Mountain.
Dude, you are full of spice right now. Dude, I don't know what to do with you.
Okay. I love all of these. I find enjoyment in all of these, but I'm going from what hurts me the most to what hurts me the least. And Space Mountain makes me talk like Mickey Mouse. There's a certain part where I lift up and then slam back down, and I'm glad I don't have to have kids anymore.
Oh my gosh, man. I don't know how to deal with you right now.
It hurts my groin.
I'm going to go. We're going to hit pause. I have to go upstairs and run the shower and go cry in the fetal position right now.
Are we doing a crying game thing?
We are.
Like, this is... look, Space Mountain, the queue. So wonderful. It's a classic ride. It's so Disney. It's so old and painful. It hurts so bad. And what's with just having 3 people on one car all looking like you're on a toboggan? That makes no sense. Oh my
goodness.
Come on. Well, then that ride just needs to it needs an overhaul.
If that hurts, when you guys go to D23, do not ride the Matterhorn, because if you get hurt by Space Mountain, then, dude, Matterhorn is going to rock your world.
Dude, if you ever see pictures of me on Space Mountain, it always is that O face. And it's just because I hurt myself so bad. I'm an old man, Mark. Things are falling, going south, and the ride just
not good.
Dragging them down.
All right, my 7th, neither one of us matched what the people said over in the group. My 7th is going to be Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which I absolutely really like this at number 7. It just, it really falls below the other things in terms of just being thrilling. I still like to ride it, but if I'm being honest, my only part that I really truly enjoy of this ride anymore is the mine, is the dark ride portion of it, because the animatronics on that are so great. And that sequence where they're singing, hi ho, Hi ho, it's off to work. We go. That is fun. And you can rock the individual carts back and forth. Like they're on a rock system where you can lean left and right and rock the carts.
Well, that's great for you,
but
I'm going to say, I'm just because we're going to talk about this anyway.
Yeah.
My number 6 is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. For the same fact is, I love that mine scene.
Okay.
I love. It's really sad when you can just sit back and go, you know what I like about the ride? The ending.
Yeah, but if you don't, in my opinion, here's the only reason that this is 7. If you don't sit in the last car where you have a whip effect, it's actually pretty boring. Like it's
very boring.
If I get sat in the first half of the car, it's a snoozer. I mean, I'll pull out my phone and I'll just try to get some high resolution 4K footage because you're not going too fast. But aside from that, like this one for me, it's number 7. Now the people of the group, here's a bit of a hot take. The Disney Addicts, with 6% of the vote, saying 6% said it was their favorite. Slinky Dog Dash is the number 7 according to the Disney Addicts. That's a bit of a surprise for me.
That is a huge surprise.
It's newer. There's always a wait. I wonder though, and this is just going to be interesting to see if the people of that group placed it that low. I'm wondering if because it's a longer wait, a lot of times you can't get on it right away. You have to bake in the sun.
Oh, so hot.
It is if you don't have a lightning lane for that, you will bake to get on set. I can't imagine it's an enjoyable wait for Slinky Dog Dash.
Is it good enough for that wait? I don't know. We'll see where it lands on the mark. At
night it is. But I'm wondering if the people placed it so low because the experience to get to it and the amount of time that you ride it, it is askew. So
that's great. I love what you just brought up because like I said, my number 6 was Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train at nighttime is a different ride.
It's a better ride at night,
and it's a much better ride. Whereas when you get to Slinky, I think it's great day or night. Night adds to it. Yep. But Seven Dwarfs, the only time it's good is at nighttime. And even then it's still, this is a great first roller coaster for little Jenny.
Well, and a hot tip for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Don't ride it.
Well, no, if you want to
kidding. I'm kidding.
If you want to skip Enchantment, it's a great time to queue up for that and to try to time riding Seven Dwarfs Mine Train as Enchantment is going off. Because it's really
so good.
It's really cool to ride with the fireworks. Big Thunder Mountain is the same way. A lot of people don't know that about Big Thunder, but if you can ride that during the fireworks, it really does make the experience like 10 to 15 times better than it would be if you're just riding it normally. So, all right. So your 6 is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Correct.
Okay.
And I don't even need to rehash anything. We've said it all.
My 6 is Slinky Dog Dash. For the same reason, I love Slinky Dog Dash. I love it at night. I love it during the daytime. This is one of my really tough calls, and it's purely just because I think the other stuff, I enjoy it way more than I do Slinky Dog Dash. Because the line is always so long, you're never getting to ride this more than maybe once a day because of how long you're going to wait for it. So it's not as accessible to have that same replay value. It's not like Big Thunder Mountain where there's that 15-minute wait in the beginning or the end of the day. Everyone runs to Slinky Dog Dash, and it's always got a pretty decent wait, unless you're running there at the absolute beginning of the day. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to. I'm going to run for Rise of the Resistance. So for that reason, man, and purely for that reason, I don't have the same intimate relationship with that ride that I do as some of the others that you can just get on more often. So that one fell to number 6 for me. 6 for the group with 8% of the vote, very close to 7 to Slinky Dog Dash. So dude, you and I are pretty close so far. At least I am very close.
Yeah.
To the group. But 8% of the vote at number 6 was for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Yeah, I can understand why, and I guarantee you, just like Slinky Dog Dash, that has a lot to do with waiting for that queue, because I watched it every single day I've been there this past week, which has been 4 days in a row. By 8:30 and rope drop at 9, it was already 75
80 minutes, almost all
now
day.
The queue, let me real quick about Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. One of the really neat things is the queue is really good there.
Used to be better.
At one point, you can spin the barrels, and if 7 of the barrels are spun at one time, then you get a brand new scene on the ceiling. I think that's really cool. Yeah, but not worth the wait. Not even
to be able to sort.
Worth the wait.
Yeah, you could sort gems at one point. They took that away. It's all on the Disney Play app now. That ride, the queue used to be better than it was. It's not a horrible ride, but people, when you pull them and you ask them what ride they feel is overrated, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is almost always at the top of the list. That people are like, it's a good ride, but it's overrated.
It sucks.
Way overrated.
No, nothing sucks. That's being harsh.
Overrated is fair.
Yeah.
Overrated is fair.
I'll go with overrated.
All right.
I agree.
Number 5, dude. We're about halfway there. You're number 5.
Okay. I was actually going to put this at number 1 just to be persnickety today. But truly, number 5 for me is Barnstormer. I love the goof.
You're a liar.
I love Max so much.
Oh my gosh.
The Goofy movie is a masterpiece. The father-son connection in that movie makes me cry every time I see it. I have nothing but great things to say about Goofy. Barnstormer is, I think, people... You're trying to hold this one together. Poor Goofy. It makes me cry every time I hear that because I know he's hurt. Barnstormer.
That's what's going on inside of me right now. That's literally the sound that my soul is making.
It's a
that you
fun
have
ride. Why do people hate on it so much?
Barnstormer number 5.
Short. If you go to an after hours event, Mark, and you're going to be doing the Halloween Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party coming up, or you did it last week when this episode drops, whatever timeline on the multiverse we're in right now in Dislife podcast, the Barnstormer at nighttime. It's fun. You get to see a great view of Dumbo. Casey Splash Pad is over there. It's probably the best view of Tron that you get while you're working on it. Like that adds to it. It's just fun, man. It's like it's just a kid-friendly, fun ride. It's like the Hippogriff coaster over at Universal. It's just
very fun.
It's short. It's fun.
Hippogriff
you
fun.
have no worries. Not once that when I get on there do I go, I'm gonna die. No, I hear woohoo. And big ups, Goof.
I can't even look at you right now. I can't even look at you. Greg's number 5 is the Barnstormer. Greg, where can people yell at you? Give them an email because I need hate mail going to
at
you.
chipandco.com. I want it all to go to Chip.
All right. I need to be clear. My 5 through 1 can change depending on the day. I absolutely love my number 5. If I'm talking about the Disneyland version of number 5, it's higher. But the number 5 for me is the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. I like it. It's fun. It's not as smooth as the one out in California. Now that I've seen the one out in California and I've seen all the animatronics and all the extras and the dynamite that will go off in the third chain lift, I realize how much better ours could be. And only for that reason, it drops lower than other stuff because I've seen it at its apex version. I've seen it at its absolute purest and what it should be over here in Florida and what it's not. And because I've seen the promised land, Greg, and I've seen what Big Thunder Mountain could be and what it is, it falls to number 5 for me. I still enjoy it, but I really like it in California more. So for that reason, that is my number 5. The people, are you ready? You're sitting. I'm glad you're sitting. Cover your heart. Greg, cover your heart.
Do I even want to know, Mark?
With 10% of the vote.
Mark, how is my reaction going to be?
I don't listen. Don't curse. Because I'll have to.
Oh, it's going to be that good, huh?
With 10% of the vote, 10% of the vote, Cosmic Rewind has fallen to 5th for the people of the Facebook group. That's what they say. So let's spend our time creatively and constructively trying to figure out why. And
okay,
I have my theory. I have my theory.
I think you and I probably are going to have the same theory. You and I sometimes think alike, and we deep think sometimes a little bit too much.
Go ahead.
I think not enough of the people who have voted on this have ridden it.
Correct.
I think that's all it comes down to. I think
that's it.
I think the mass hysteria about people getting sick on it put a false imprint on people's minds, and just people haven't ridden it.
That's it. Bottom line. I mean, when we did like,
that's why I'm not that angry. I'm like, okay, yeah, I accept that.
When we saw lists and bests of and whatever, Rise of the Resistance would pull very low, and that was because people hadn't done it. And so they, one, hadn't done it, but the only experience that some people had too was getting left off of the virtual queue. Right. And so it left a really bad taste in their mouth. So Rise of the Resistance went really low on some people's best of list. I'm going to tell you that that's what happened here. Enough people haven't ridden it, and they're relying on like other media organizations and the sensationalism that has been thrown around with this ride. And they're just saying, oh, it can't be good because look at all these articles. I listen, people, I love you, but I would have to say respectfully, and I'm saying that respectfully, I would have to disagree with you going to number 5. Although I understand why you've put it there, with all due respect, once you
did you just all due respect our audience?
With all due respect, once you ride this, I feel that you will change that perspective. So we'll see.
You're wrong. Did Mark just say they're wrong?
No, it's with all due respect.
You did all due respect. I'm just saying.
I did.
Okay,
it's
good. With all due respect, I think you're right.
All right, Greg, your top. Let's go top 4. Number 4 for you, man.
Slinky Dog Dash. I have an emotional connection to Slinky Dog Dash, as in my wife finally rode a roller coaster with me the first time. Not the first, but Slinky Dog Dash was the first one that she would really do regularly. Hey, man,
that's a great reason. That's a great reason.
Toy Story Land sucks. Just the whole thing sucks right now. It's too hot. It's too tight. There's too many people. The layout is wrong. Just they did a bad job with Toy Story Land. And that's a shame because these Pixar characters deserve so much more. And they're getting it with adding in new gift shops and with the barbecue. And give me some shade and some benches that aren't done. I want shade. I want benches. I don't care if you put 2 dominoes together and I have to sit on dominoes. Like, you have all this theming and it's beautiful, but you don't have a seat to just sit down. Like, how about an umbrella? What? Well, you had it.
Andy, you didn't have any trees in your backyard? Like, seriously, man. Like,
I see your giant footprint all over the place.
For real.
Toy Story. Yeah. Look, Slinky Dog Dash as a coaster is a fun family, well-built. It's got some ups and downs, literally. I love the ending with Wheezy singing. I think that's a nice touch. I love the board games, the theming and the queue. If you're allowed to spend time, but you're normally rushed in and out of there, the queue is brilliant. And what's all in there? There's a lot of little Easter eggs in there. The ride itself, I think it's fun.
Well, the little map that's behind there of Andy designing it and like putting all the kits together to design the ride is really fun.
Yup.
I don't disagree with you. It hurts my heart to have to put it as low as I did on my list.
Oh yeah.
But that's where there's only one that I would honestly say, like, I just can't put it there. And it's only because it's a kid coaster, and that's the Barnstormer. But I really like it. I like all of these, man.
Why do you hate Goofy so much?
I don't.
Goofy.
You're
always talking bad about the Goofy movie.
No, I love
you. Don't like Max.
I love.
What's Max's girlfriend that he's always trying to impress?
I don't know.
Or is that the one where Max gets married?
I don't know, man. I don't watch that movie enough.
Sure.
We'd have to have Piano Rob on. He loves that movie, and he'll tell you. All right, so but he's wrong. My number 4, and the group, the Disney Addicts and I are in lockstep on this one. So I will just let you know that with 11% of the vote, it was very close to Cosmic Rewind, but they went with the traditional trip to outer space, not the Cosmic Rewind, as did I. My number 4 and the group's number 4 is Space Mountain. Alpha and Omega, give me it all. Here's what I will say. I rode this in Disneyland, and I cannot wait for you to ride this in Disneyland. because it will change your perspective again on how great this ride could be. We need a new track. We just need a new track. It's old. I'm hoping that if Tron opens, that gives the e-ticket attraction over in Tomorrowland and gives the Imagineers a little bit of confidence and wiggle room to close our Space Mountain for refurbishment, to put a new track in, something that's smooth. And we do need a little bit of a fix. But the people and I agreed, it's iconic. It is such a beautiful part of the landscape over there in Tomorrowland. For a lot of people, it was their first roller coaster. It's an icon for a reason, but I feel like we need a new track. We need some new visuals. And if we could get those things, it really would truly be higher for me. But despite the fact it hurts over here in Walt Disney World, I really like this ride. I do like it.
Yeah, look, and again, I think we discussed earlier, I know we did, it was a lot of people's first coaster. So a lot of people have an emotional attachment to how great they remember Space Mountain being.
I like it, Greg.
It's great, Mark.
It's great.
Let's move on.
All right, number 3, top 3. Here we go.
Number 3. Now, this and Barnstormer can kind of replace each other. They could go either direction because Barnstormer, I think, is better than this because at least Barnstormer works. Everest does not work.
Come on, man.
Everest is a fun ride, but it's a broken ride. I don't understand why people accept this. People are just like, yeah, it's in B mode all the time.
It really is.
The Yeti doesn't work. We're fine. It's still a great coaster. It doesn't work. Yes, it is a fun ride, but we were sold a bill of goods and we did not get our side of cheese. There was no coconut oil. There was nothing extra. I love the Yeti. I remember riding in this when the Yeti worked
for a month and a half.
Yeah, it was about a year. Was it about a year? I think it was about a year.
Wasn't long.
But we've all accepted this ride and everybody puts it as their alpha omega. This is the ride to do. It's the best coaster of all time. It's broken, people. So no, a broken ride cannot get higher than number 3.
I would like to see them fully embrace the Disco Yeti. Put a disco ball in there. Give him
That's
a leisure.
What Chip keeps saying. Yeah, just accept it.
Just accept it. Give him a leisure suit. At this point, just make a joke of it because it's never going to work again, and they're not going to refurbish it. Because to do that, they have to take the whole mountain has to come apart.
Could you imagine having that shut down with how little there is to do? Imagine what they would do at that amphitheater right across the way. What kind of kite tail show they might show. Maybe they would bring back the old kite tails. Maybe then I wouldn't just get one song and Blue going ba-dunk.
Who knows, man? Who knows? All right. So my number 3 it was the ultimate roller coaster because this was me finally conquering my fear of inverting. And it was the first coaster that I ever did that had an inversion on it. And that is the Rock and Roller Coaster. I know you hate it and it's rough. If you keep your head firmly planted against the back seat, it'll be fine. I do like Aerosmith. So I really like Sweet Emotion is my favorite song. I don't mind Walking This Way. I like this ride. To me, this ride is really good.
I want to close my eyes and I still miss you, babe, because I miss you.
Have you seen
I don't want to miss a thing.
Have you heard the audio of Ben Affleck talking about, I guess they're having a first read or a table read of Armageddon. And I don't know if this was done in front of everybody, but I guess Ben Affleck said to the director, Michael Bay, why wouldn't they just train the astronauts to drill versus training oil rig guys to go to space? And he was like, shut the F up. He's like Michael Bay straight up told him at the table read, shut up. You're overthinking it. But it really makes no sense.
Probably should have said that about Aerosmith. Steven Tyler, shut up.
It makes no sense at all. That movie makes... I don't even care, and I love it. Dude, Rock and Roller Coaster for me is number 3. Yeah. I absolutely love this ride.
Look, you have an emotional attachment to it.
I do.
And you're going to have an even bigger one when Bella rides it with you. So
I do.
I'm with you.
And for that reason, man, it's absolutely amazing. Absolutely
no judgment, bro.
All right, the group, this one didn't surprise me because whenever you put a poll out, this is for all of the people who like a mild experience. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad always is in like the top 3 or the top 2 because the vast majority of people aren't afraid of it and will actually ride it. So because of recency bias or just because people are like, I ride that one, I'm voting for it, it's at number 3 with 17% of the vote. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, people love it. I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you're a Walt Disney Worlder, if you like our Big Thunder Mountain, go out to the West Coast and you're going to be like, what? This is amazing. Like, it's so much better out in Disneyland, and they have so many more interactive and like animatronics and elements that just make it that much better. I'm just telling you, if you like it here, you'll love it out there. All right, dude, here we go. Top 2. I think I know where you're going with this one. You're number 2.
Mark, where else can you get a 49er yelling at you about removing your hat, go through a mine,
oh my goodness,
see a dinosaur bones, and stare at goats, and have the best view of Cinderella Castle in all of Walt Disney World? No other place than Big Thunder Mountain. Not only that is the ride so much fun, but the queue is really interactive. Where else can you prime up a plunger to blow up stuff and have water shoot out of different places than Big Thunder Mountain? Yeah, I'm sure Disneyland is better, but you can shut your mouth about the Disneyland stuff, can't you? Can't you just give us something down here? Do you have to always compare us to Disneyland? Are you a Disneylander now, Mark?
I am a Disneylander.
I mean, we only did 5 episodes on Disneyland. No, seriously. Big Thunder Mountain is just classic Walt Disney World. It's the theming is beautiful. The ride is fun. It's just, it's old. It's rickety feeling. It's got that runaway railway thing to it.
I cannot wait.
Brilliant.
I cannot wait until you ride this in California. I cannot wait. The first thing that I'm going to
defend Disney World so hard. I'm going to go out there and be like, I hate this ride, Mark, because it's so well done.
I cannot wait until you do it out. You like our goat? You like our goat? Okay. All right.
I think I just like goats, Mark. I think we're learning that I like goats.
Moving on. If you like our, I'm just saying, you like our goat? Okay.
All right.
Moving
on. What's your number 2? Give me your number 2.
My number 2, I don't even care that it doesn't work. I have embraced the B mode. I've embraced the disco. I absolutely love. And I'm just going to tell you this. I actually think it's probably the best themed roller coaster that we have in Walt Disney. The theming is amazing. The storyline is incredible. We do get a Disco Yeti. The backwards drop, the train tracks that are broken. Expedition Everest is so much fun. I mean, it is just so great. It gives you that ultimate head rush. It is a little intense for people, but doing that corkscrew backwards in the complete and total darkness, and then the track changing over, and then you going down and you having the drop, seeing the Disco Yeti. Expedition Everest is just, it's pure bliss and it's perfection. We talked about all the things that make a good ride. The first time that you ride Expedition Everest, you seriously, as you're going up the chain lift, you question the decision to ride that ride. Like, what did I do? And then when the tracks are broken, if you haven't seen a ride through of it, I can only imagine, like, as a kid, the first time you're riding that and you're going and you just see broken tracks, you think to yourself, where am I going? Like, what's going to happen? And then you drop and you go backwards. The ride is just so good. It's so well themed. It really is a feat of Imagineering that the Imagineers who put together this area of the park, they really spared no expense. I would love to see the Yeti fixed. I think that it really should. If they ever have to do a complete and total refurbish of this ride, just go for it. Take the mountain down, just go for it. And if you don't replace the Yeti, put something there that could go in place of it, like an animatronic. So take him out and put something else there. You put a screen up, for goodness sake.
I will, for all the negative stuff I said, I will say some positive stuff about this. Like, it's still number 3 on my list, so it's not that far down. seeing the mountain loom from the moment you walk into that park and hit Discovery Island all the way until you get there, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. If you go behind Flame Tree Barbecue and you're sitting by the water and you see the mountain in the background and then the amphitheater and it reflects off the water, it's truly beautiful. It's a wonderful time to sit there and just enjoy that. Seeing the chain lift, you don't really see the drop, you see the chain lift going up, and you just think, oh no, what have I gotten myself into? So yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a for all that I hate and how much it's broken and that everybody's accepted that it's broken, it's still beautiful.
It's absolutely beautiful, man. So cover your ears again, because I think that you're going to be really upset with the fans and the Disney addicts. They have said with 18% of the vote, Rock and Roller Coaster is definitively the second best roller coaster at Disney. So
Dream on.
They want to walk this way. Yeah, man.
They need to walk away, walk somewhere else.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're right. Like, Greg is wrong and you're right. So be vindicated in your decision. You are absolutely right. Greg put this as his last.
You know, every time I've seen Aerosmith in concert, which is about 12 times, it was always for the opening band. Like, I saw Four Non Blondes open for him, the Black Crowes twice. I one time slept out at the Spectrum in Philadelphia for 2 nights to get tickets to see Aerosmith, and Guns N' Roses opened up for him. And Guns N' Roses destroyed Aerosmith. And I was like, I'll never listen to Aerosmith again.
Wow, that
You're
was
my angel. Compared to... Oh my gosh.
Greg is doing the Guns N' Roses.
I hate Aerosmith.
How do you really feel, man?
I love, you go back to Back in the Saddle or Mirrors. Oh my gosh, come on. Beautiful. But anyway, look, the Disney addicts are allowed to be
All right,
wrong.
ready? Here you go, dude. This is your chance. Soapbox on this every single Sunday. You go. I knew this was your number one. Let's talk about it, because guess what, man? I'm joining you. Both you and I think that the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is the best roller coaster experience at Disney. Let's tell them why, because they put it at number 5.
If not the world, the queue itself. Mark, where do we start? Where do we start? Do we start at the show building? Do we start at the the butt of Disney outside at the Novacore ship? The wonderful theming.
Hey, on the whole, I think we should move past that.
Well, there's a movement there. We'll discuss that later. Walking in,
we've put enough preparation into this. into this episode's outline that we can skip it, the whole.
Dude, that devil's hole is just going to kill. It's going to swallow everybody up whole. In case you don't know what we're talking about, the Novacore ship from behind.
Holy cow, let's move on.
So anyway, look, I can wax poetic about the queue. I can wax poetic about the pre-show, the 2 pre-shows. I can go on and on about how leaving the pre-show and doing the walk and seeing the coaster down below as you see through the windows, and then the excitement of walking down the queue. Let's just talk about the ride itself.
All right, let's talk about the ride.
The moment you get on and have the lap bar strapped in and you make that turn, boom, there is Star-Lord and Drax and Rocket is talking to you, and Gamora's there, and and there's Groot. They're all there, and they're hyping you up to make these jumps through the portals to try and save everybody from the Celestial. The story is so brilliant.
But you're in it. You're in the MCU. Like,
you're in it. You are a character in there. The ride itself, from the moment you get in there and you think that you're just going to keep going around this track, but the carts turn and do a 180 on you. And now the front is the back and the back is the front, and row 10 is actually the front and row 1 is the back. And you're looking at a Celestial, and then all of a sudden it blasts you off. And you don't even know what song you're about to get. But listen to me. I'm excited about this. Like, I literally play a game every single time we go to ride. What song are we?
What are we getting
today?
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to get?
Speaking of which,
you don't know until you hit that one part. Oh, and then the giant screens in there, they're overwhelming. And then you feel like you are in the starfield. They're like little points of light are everywhere. And then let's not forget one of the greatest elements of all time, when you whip around the moon and use the moon's gravity as a slingshot to go off to the next part. Oh my gosh, they just do it so good.
I have to know what your favorite songs in order. So I need to know, because you've collected them all. I haven't gotten Conga, but I need to know what your favorites are.
Okay. I'm going to start at the bottom.
Okay.
Iran is the weakest one. Okay. None of these are weak, right? They all work for what they are. So Iran would be my number 6, followed by Conga.
Okay.
Disco Inferno.
Okay.
Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Okay.
September is number 2. And One Way or Another by Blondie is my number 1.
Okay. So Conga is my 6th. It's at
you haven't.
I haven't done it, so I don't even know what it feels like to be on the ride with Conga. And it's important. It's not just a matter of, oh, I like that song. It's how the song meshes emotionally and how it works with the ride mechanic. So Conga, Blondie, and again, I love all of these. There's none that I'm like, oh, I got Blondie, One Way or Another is really good. Iran is my 3rd. Disco Inferno is 3. September is my 2nd. But nothing, I think, will ever top Tears for Fears. When you and I wrote it together that first time, I was crying. My wife and I were actually crying because I don't know what it is about that song. It changes the ride from exciting to just beautiful. That music makes the visuals emotionally overwhelming. Like the crescendo of that song and just the chord progression and the way that you have the synthesizer working in tandem with the movement of those cars, it changes the entire mood of that ride. Everybody Wants to Rule the World is beautiful. And as you're slingshotting around the moon, you get emotional. It's just like tears of joy.
And I will
streaming.
say that there's 2 modes in Guardians. Like, there's a slow mode where it feels like the cart is going slower. And then there's A where it feels like the cart is going faster.
Yeah.
Those songs work differently. Like, when it's in fast mode, September, I think, is one of the better ones. And it's not a great song, in my opinion. What song I really wish they had was The Other Side by Aerosmith. I just think adding more Aerosmith would have been just so amazing.
You're trolling everybody right now. Now, don't forget, there will be a Christmas overlay. There are going to be several songs that are going to be overlaid on this for Christmas. I'm sure that Greg will be there on day 1 to let us know what those are. I cannot wait.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
The people have voted, though, and the people have spoken. They put our top ride at 5, and with 26, it wasn't even close. It was a blowout in the Disney Addicts group. 26% of the vote said unanimously Expedition Everest still reigns supreme for them. I do think, however, that with time and more people rewinding, I do think that eventually I fully expect Cosmic Rewind to be at the number 1 slot in like 2 years. If we were to do this again, I definitely think people will agree with us. It's just an experience. It's so much more than a roller coaster. Guardians is an immersive experience. You live and breathe in the MCU. And even up to like when you get off, you still very much, you feel like you're in the movie. And for the Imagineers to do that, I'm like so impressed with what they've done. Dude, I need to know this, though, before we leave for the day. Where do you predict Tron will be for you in this list?
So I was just about to say almost the exact same thing. It was like, we should revisit this in 2 years after people have gotten a chance to ride Cosmic Rewind and Tron. Where is Tron going to end up on this list? For me, Mark, look, I'm a Tron. I am master
We're both
program.
Tronnies. We're both Tronnies.
Just so over the. I like Tron more than I like Marvel. Hot take. I like Tron more than I like Marvel anymore because there's too much Marvel for me. We'll talk about that some other time.
Yeah.
Man, this one's tough. I think it's going to be a shorter ride. Who knows how great
it's very short. It's very short.
I still think Cosmic Rewind will come in as number 1. I think Tron will end up as number 2.
I have to agree with you. For everything that you just said, I think if only for the duration of the ride. But that said, I don't know, because I have to see how I will emotionally react to Tron. Growing up, Flynn's Arcade, like, it's in here, man. It lives in me. You know, greetings program. It's in our intro for a reason. We're Tronnies. You and I connected over our love of Tron, and Bondo is also a Tronnie. So all the people that
Tinker J.
Yeah, all of us are Tronnies. If it's not number 2, it's going to be really close with Guardians. It's going to be like a 1 and 1A situation, though. I can tell you, I know, just seeing the ride through footage, I don't care how short it is, me being on the grid is going to fill something in.
I'm going to be on a light cycle.
Yeah, it's going to be chicken soup for like the young Mark soul, that it doesn't matter that it's only a minute and 15 minutes. It's going to rekindle something in my childhood. And again, that's what great intellectual property does, man. This was awesome. Yeah. This was so much fun.
And I'm hyped over this. I'm going to go listen to some old school Aerosmith, probably 72 from Texas. No, I'm not.
She's the worst. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on Dislife Podcast. Tune in next week.
Joe Perry is the best guitar player of all time.
We are going to have a little bit of a trip report, as I'm going to be talking about the time that we spent. Greg and I were hanging out at parks. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a trip report as my family is taking our annual vacation to Disney World, where, and I say annual, we're there all the time. Our annual DVC stay. So we'll be talking a little bit about Disney Vacation Club. We will be staying at Kidani. So we're going to be talking about the Kidani Savannah View. We have stayed at the Jumbo House before. So this is our first time that we're staying at the Kidani area of the resort. So we'll give you a full review on that, talk about any tips and tricks. But Greg, again, this is what I love about Dislife being on this network. Tune in on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, as we're going to be bringing you lots of Disney news, updates, everything going on in the parks. But thank you so much for hanging out with us. Greg, anything that we want to say before we sign off? Did I forget anything?
No, Mark, just keep that train kept rolling on there. Don't treat me like a rag doll.
It's nice to see that your ire has now moved from the 100 Acre Wood over to Aerosmith, because I think Steven Tyler can take it a lot more than Piglet. But thank you.
Mark, we are living on the edge.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us here on Dislife Podcast. Thank you for making our show a part of your Disney life. And as always, we hope the rest of the week is filled with faith, trust, and pixie dust. We'll see you real soon. Dislife Podcast is brought to you by the Happiness is Addictive collection. Happiness is Addictive is passionate about spreading laughter and creating smiles worldwide. They love bringing their global community together through optimism, cheer, hopefulness, merriment, and celebrating life's magical moments. They know how important it is to celebrate life's adventures, and their apparel will give you everlasting, one-of-a-kind memories through pixie-dusted family photos, compliments from park guests, and magical moments with cast members. They pride themselves on high-quality, custom-made apparel at competitive prices with world-class service. Let them help you create a lifetime of memories, whether you're Disney bounding, kicking it poolside, participating in Run Disney marathons, having costumed adventures, or just living your best Disney life. You can find their Happiness is Addictive shop on Etsy. You can also find them on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and Pinterest. They are proud to be featured in Indy Central Florida, the Thoughtful Gift Club, and now here on Dislife Podcast. Their collection was founded by a 15-year former cast member who knows how to enhance your magical moments for a lifetime of memories with your family. Don't forget to use promo code DISLIFE15 to take an extra 15% off. What are you waiting for? Head over to Etsy and start getting happy today. Follow the link in our show notes and you'll find out for yourself that happiness is addictive.